All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us, Navigate College Now, on our Productivity Apps webinar. Thank you all to everyone who was able to join us yesterday on our Back to College, Back to Basics webinar. I really appreciate all of you all joining us, and glad to hear you, and see you again on here today. So we'll get right into it. This is going to be about a 20 to 30 minute webinar on how to use some of the basically game changing and best apps out this year. We're definitely benefiting of being in the technology age now, and we have lots of resources available to us. And because of this, one of the best things that I like to tell college students in particular to do is to use their apps, their cell phones, and different resources available to them through Apple and Microsoft and other platforms to really make the best out of their academic experience, non-academic experience, and even social experience. So we'll walk through some of these apps today as we go through the webinar, and hopefully you can get a better understanding of some of the things you can do to increase your productivity and organization. So once again, this is being hosted by Navigate College Now. Just a little bit of quick background about us. Navigate College Now is an education consulting firm offering products and services that develop students into high-impact, organized, and urgent thinkers and doers in college settings and beyond. And essentially what this means is that we're interested in building winners, motivated students who take advantage of available campus resources, are proactive about their futures, and claim a high degree of responsibility for making sure that they set their futures. This is the kind of student that we build, and we build habits of mind, we build principles, and we instill these things throughout our whole different philosophies. So today, we'll be talking about one of our 5 P's of college success. We have 5 of them that are mentioned in our book, but this one that is most relevant to today, I think, is the process P. And it consists of learning strategies, practicing good habits, and building accountability. On our Back to Basics, Back to College webinar that you can find on our channel, you'll see that we talked about good habits and what it really means to practice good habits in college. We mentioned that good habits in college are not necessarily commonplace. They're not popular. They're not just run of the mill. They're not second nature. For most people, when good habits are actually being executed and being practiced, oftentimes it feels almost like counterculture. So this is something that will be true throughout your college career, and then you'll have to make a serious decision about deciding which side of the spectrum you'll be as far as good habits, bad habits. But the best thing to do is to build a routine that works for you. And hopefully by bringing these apps into play today, we can personalize that experience and make sure that that takes place. So, why would we be interested in productivity apps, for example? So studies show that college students are spending between 8 and 10 hours on average on their cell phones. So that's combined time in a day, I guess when you wake up, in between classes, before you go to sleep. And it seems like a very high number out of a 24-hour day. But if you think about the dependence that we have on technology today, and kind of how it's intertwined with our social experience as far as social media and other things, people could work on apps all day. They could be getting work done on apps for 8 to 10 hours a day. They could also spend time 8 to 10 hours a day socializing on these apps. But the main fact here is that students are on their cell phones doing some combination of the two for 8 to 10 hours a day. So making good use of that time and really stretching out what you accomplish in that time is really important. So as far as an agenda today, we'll be going over apps, and although we'll go through them quickly, here are the apps that we'll go through. We'll look at the Google Suite, and we'll look specifically at Calendar, Google Docs, and Google Drive. We'll look at Trello, which is kind of a bulletin board type app. We'll look at Slack, which is a group messaging application. Evernote Web, which has an offline platform as well, used for note-taking and file organizing. We'll look at Simple Mind Lite, which is about mind mapping. I think our visual learners will really appreciate that. And we'll be introducing the Pomodoro technique and some different apps that work along with it. And we'll also introduce Pocket, which is for file storing and file sharing as well. We'll bring meaning to all these things as I demonstrate on my screen. So keep in mind, everything that I show to you today will be free, although many have premium versions. So it's always things that you can upgrade to and get more features if you desire. But everything that I'm showing today, in its even free form, is very functional and very important to use. So keep that in mind if you are the type that doesn't like to buy apps, or you do like to buy apps. That all these have a free version you can start at, but you can definitely upgrade. And also all of the ones that I show today, because I will be on the computer, are Windows and Mac apps. So they work for usually web-based solutions and offline. So you can download them on your app store on your phone. You can download them on Google Play. You can download them. You can just sign into them on any web browser, Google Chrome, whatever it is you use. So this is a good webinar because it will allow everyone to kind of use these things, not just iPhone or whatever the specific device you have is. And I always encourage, once again, everyone to have a combination of these tools. A combination that works for them is really important, because although I will show you this many apps and there are thousands that you could use, there's no perfect solution, right, to staying organized and staying productive, but there are definitely things that can aid you, and it's all about trial and error and finding what best works for you. So let's get started here. First, we'll talk about Google Drive. So Google Drive is just a file storing app. It's on the cloud, and you're able to store different files and share files with people in a way that's fluid and definitely helpful. You can store everything from PDFs here to the different Google apps. For example, Google's Word, Microsoft Word equivalent, Google Docs, is on here, and you're able to create documents and store documents in a way that can really be helpful and share. In this way, if everyone's using Google Docs and Google Drive, you can share things easily without having to worry about file extensions or whatever the case may be, and it definitely works for organizing group tasks or even your own files, creating folders and that sort of thing. You also get a lot of free space here, 15 gigabytes to use on your Google Drive, which is really important because a lot of sites will maybe want to charge you for extra cloud space, but 15 gigabytes is a lot of space to start off at. Anybody with a Gmail address can access this. So as you can see here, we have some basic functions on this. I've uploaded some things on here for you all to see how it can look, and different folders that you can have, and all of these things work differently, but definitely look at Google Drive as one of the apps you can use. So the next thing we'll talk about is Google Calendar. Google Calendar is also part of the Google Calendar suite, or Google Drive suite. This is a great app. I think Google Calendar is a great app because it allows you to see your time. So I'm a kind of person that can waste a lot of time if I don't necessarily know how much time is in front of me. I have I guess a poor sense of time. So this really helps me because I know on the day-to-day how much time I have left. So as you can see here, it's just regular time schedule blocks, and we're on the week view right now. So you can do day views if you worry about just getting through today, or if you're more concerned, usually like I am, about the week. This is really important. So for example, we'll practice inputting some things here. So say you have, a Monday class for an hour and a half every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So say you have politics class. And what you can do here is make sure that you come up here and you say what the time is. 10 to 11:30 is when I have this class, and you know that you can put descriptions or whatever the case may be in, and you can even be notified about when the event is coming on. If you need to do a location, you can also input that as well. But that's important to know. And also up here, really important feature, the repeat filter. So if I know I have class every Monday, for example, it's good for me to put that in so I don't have to continue to input a calendar. So then I can actually see my time. So say I have a conference to go to on the 3rd of the month, and it's going to be all day, or basically all day. So we'll look at, say it was 9 to 4. If I am able to put this conference in, it allows me to physically see my time. So I think this offers a different kind of accountability, because I can't fake about how much time I have once this calendar starts to load up and bring about its different parts. I will literally see every week when my classes are, when my free time is, and you really start to value this in between space once this calendar starts to fill up, and it allows you to also schedule more things or move things around easily when you're discussing your schedule with people or thinking about things you need to do or how much time you have. So Google Calendar is a great app to do that. You can also share your calendar with others, and it's very helpful for people to be able to see your calendar. Now you can go into the settings and you can make sure that they can't see the title of your event, so that just in case they're private and you didn't want anyone to see, but they will be able to see your blocks, and make sure that they don't schedule anything on top of when you're already busy. So that's a great feature to have. So Google Drive, Google Docs, and Google Calendar are great apps to have. So we'll move on here to Trello. I think Trello is a very popular app now, but many people still aren't familiar with it. So it's all about almost like a bulletin board of tasks and related content, and it's based on projects. So here I have a personal board, and let's say for our college knowledge crash course that we have on January 20th coming up, that I wanted to have a certain set of tasks available. So I set this up for you all today, and here is the to do. These are the things you're doing, and these are the things that's already done. So if I'm going to set up an event, for example, on campus, say I'm part of a college club or something like that, and we have an event coming up, it's good to know the things I need to do, the things that are already being done, or the things that have been done. So you can change backgrounds, you can filter through these and find different ways to organize yourself, but it's a great way to see lots of tasks split up across different projects. And also here you have, for example, a team space. A lot of these apps are really good for teams, and if you work in groups commonly for academic projects, non-academic projects, just really good group apps. If we were all working and collaborating on that January 20th webinar, we can add a list here, and we could do so that if you have this setting here, team visible, you're able to show and invite people to your list and have them edit it and move it around and fill in, so that everyone's collaborating on the document at the same time. So this is free once again, and this is the web version, although you can get the iPhone app, you can get the Android app. All those things are available if you do so, please. So next we'll move to Slack. So Slack is really exciting because Slack is a group messaging app. So a lot of people have probably heard of GroupMe or WhatsApp, or just use the traditional iMessage iPhone apps. Those are all really good group messaging apps, but they offer different amounts of functionality and different degrees of functionality. And when I say that, I mean that oftentimes some of the group messaging apps that people commonly use are limited. For example, you can't share files. There's one thread that you look at, and that's the only thread available, and you have to text people individually if you want to talk to them outside of that. So there are a lot of different limitations that different things offer. But the reason that Slack is so popular is because it's great for clean, efficient team collaborating. So one thing that you have here that's really special about Slack is that you have channels. So for example, this is a general channel, and if I had added some of you all on this channel, we could look at our member list here, and this would be something that I could talk to as far as a specific topic, the general topic, and random here. So I can easily add channels, right? If I wanted to say this is our marketing team, I would have marketing as a channel. I can invite people that are on this channel, and when we want to discuss things of that matter, even though we're all on the same team here, we could definitely message this, and it would go to those people that are involved with marketing, for example. And I could do that for a whole team of people. And this, you also can do direct messaging of people in the group, which is anybody that you add and invite in. And you all have a unique URL. If you can see up here, we have ours, navigatecollegenow.slack.com, and it allows you to make sure that you have everyone that's supposed to be on your group message on your group message. And once again, this is a web-based app, but you can get it on your iPhone, Android, and different devices. So it's really good for groups because everyone has different kind of devices, and people need to be able to have access to the information. So another great thing about Slack though is that it has this integration with these apps that are popular. So we just got through talking about Google Drive, so I actually uploaded the Google Drive app for you all. And essentially what this allows you to do is you can add in different apps and things of that nature to add more functionality. So on this Google Drive app, I would be able to share a drive with my teammates, and we'll be able to have access to that drive, and we would be integrated with this Slack app so that we don't have to leave the app, for example, to see our files, to share files. And they have so many popular apps available that you can definitely swift through them and go through them all the day, and figure out what works best for your group. Alright, so next we'll go to Evernote Web. So we won't use Evernote Web. Evernote Web is an actual platform that you can use, but instead for today I'll show you all this version, which is the offline version, because you don't want to be too reliant on an internet connection at all times. So for a lot of people that's a big deal, and it's definitely something that people like to think about. So for example, if I'm in my work category here of my Evernote app, I'm able to create detailed documents. So if I wanted to talk about our January 20th webinar and I needed to write notes for it, this is really good for class, this is good for meetings, this is good for all those kind of things where you have to really get a lot in quick. And you can also add file attachments, videos, pictures, whatever the case may be. All those things work really well. So Evernote is a great app because it allows you, I think, 60 gigabytes of cloud storage, so it can connect to your web account and you're able to access your files in a different kind of way, because you have this lots of cloud storage, which is 4 times the Google storage actually, and it makes it a very competitive free app. And they call these apps freemiums because they're free premium apps, essentially, because Evernote is being very courteous by allowing us to have 60 gigabytes in cloud storage available on this app. So definitely something you want to download on your phone to stay organized with note-taking in class. Even if you for example, like to take handwritten notes, transferring them into here, taking pictures, adding them into your folders, creating different notebooks, all of that kind of stuff is really helpful when you want to deal with note-taking and things of that nature for meetings, academic projects, non-academic projects. It's all very helpful. So then we also want to talk about Simple Mind Lite, which is one of my favorite apps. As you can see here, I do a lot of mapping, but it's in part because I'm visually organized. So I like to, when I'm thinking through something like a particular project or a particular stage of my life, I like to see it visually. This is great for people like that need to be organized in that way. So let's take it for example here. We'll take, say we have a big project coming up for our economics class, and in that economics project it's going to require that we have different aspects of our project. So maybe our professor required us to do some writing, so an essay portion will be important. Maybe our professor had us to do some kind of service component, so we're doing some kind of service component, community service component with this economics project. Say we want to think about poverty and essays and service, and then also this is a year-long project, so we want to do some on-campus engagement around it, potentially with a club or something like that. Those are a lot of different moving parts that you need to be able to think about, and it can be really overbearing to have to think about these things on your own, or write them out, or go to an agenda. But if you have this mapping software here, what it allows you to do is to visually see and move the parts of what you need to do. So for an essay, for example, I know that I might need to, I have a 10-page requirement. I also know that I need to have 10 sources. So then I can go in and I can make a list of 10 sources using some of these other apps, or I can outline my page requirements, or whatever the case may be, and I know that these are the necessary elements of essay and that's one part of my project. So say I have a service component, and for example I need to work with our Office of Community Engagement, because a lot of students that like reading our products and using things for Navigate College Now use their available campus resources, so they'll know, for example, how to use the Office of Community Engagement to get things done. So here I know I need to contact them. I know I need to also deal with venues for our project, and maybe I need to deal with funding. So these are all important aspects of the service component that have to happen for the thing to take place. So it gives me a better depiction of what I'm doing. And this is an example of this is an academic project that has non-academic components to it, but it can be used for almost anything if you want to organize yourself and think about what's happening for you. And it's color coded, obviously, so the things that deal with service component can be a color, and you can really swift through this thing easy. So as you can see over here, I do it a lot, and it really keeps me organized. And they're also editable on the app, because you can move these around. I can delete them and do whatever the case may be that's necessary to switch around, and it really helps me to organize my thinking. Alright, so the next thing we'll talk about one second here. We'll talk about Francesco Cirillo, who was a psychologist and was interested in time management. So Francesco created what we call now the Pomodoro technique. And what this was essentially was a study on the mind that said that people could best work efficiently in 25-minute sessions. So I don't know how many of you all think like this and think that this is true for you, but that I definitely think that it applies to me, and that I have bursts of energy that I can really stay focused and maintain on task, but then I kind of fall off, or maybe I've sat there for a long time and haven't accomplished as much as I thought I would, and now the day is gone. So he looked at the human mind and was able to kind of capture some of the experiences of it, and he was able to create a method. So that's the Pomodoro method, and there are a variety of free apps that have come up with kind of ways to apply the Pomodoro method. So an easy one I like that you can just go online with is Tomato Timer. It's free, it's easy, and what it does essentially is add 25 minutes of time on a timer. So here you see we have it preset, and we would just do start, and we would just break task up, and we would work on the task that we're doing and get it accomplished in 25 minutes. Now if it was a task that we thought that would exceed 25 minutes, something that I often do is break it into parts and still find progress in each part. So if I have a long assignment or something of that nature, or I need study time, I know I can do so with this timer app. And what it does after you stop, so we would stop here and reset back to 25, you can decide to take a short break or a long break. So after 25 minutes, we would take a 5-minute break, and that's supposed to refresh the human mind. But this is something you maybe already knew, but it just allows you to do it and visually see it. I enjoy it because I can race against the clock. So if I'm with a group or something like that, and I know we're limited on time, it really holds me accountable at a different level to have to use this timer and be responsible to it. So after you take 2 breaks, I would take a long break, and that's a 10-minute break as opposed to 5 minutes. So lots of different apps you type in Pomodoro technique will allow you to do this. Tomato Timer is one that I like because it's clean, it's simple. You can even down here enable desktop alerts where it'll pop up on your screen and make a lot of noise, so you'll make sure that you stop. It also has these keyboard shortcuts down here. If you don't want to keep clicking back, you just kind of, alt short break, alt long break. So that's definitely something that's very helpful for you when you have a lot of work to get done and a lot of things to do. So here is Pocket. It's a great app that I think is good for both academic stuff, non-academic, and even your social experiences that you have. Everyone, especially in today's age, is bombarded almost with content, whether it be videos or links, Facebook links somebody sends you, or articles that are on there, or tweets or threads, or whatever the case may be, YouTube links. There's so many things that you want to look at, and oftentimes we spend our time looking at them, and that's how we spend most of our time. But we have to be responsible to our time and manage ourselves well. So a great way to do this is the Pocket app. So once again, this is a web-based app, but you can download it on your phone, on your Android, iPhone, whatever the case may be. And let's just see how it works, for example. So say today I had to really get prepared for our webinar, but I wanted to look at this article on Bitcoin. So there's an article about Japan and Bitcoin. I'm like, wow, I really need to look at this. It's a little too long for me to look at right now, but I want to get to this. Instead of doing it, I can go ahead and just copy this link, and I can click our plus sign here, and I can just add this. I add it to a list, and I can continue to do this with a bunch of apps and make sure that I'm able to assess them later. But the thing is, what this allows you to do is to never feel like you're losing the information or losing access to the thing, because a lot of times when someone sends us something or a link, we feel like we have to look at it really soon, because if not, stuff will get piled on top of it and we'll never really see it, or we'll forget to get to it. And this does a good job of avoiding that problem for you, and it definitely allows you to just kind of free yourself a little bit and maintain on task and maintain on topic. I do it for a lot of readings that I have for classes. If I can't get to all the readings at once, I'll add them to my reading list. If my friends send me information, I'll put it on my list. If I have stuff that I run across, YouTube links and stuff I want to look at, documentaries, I put them in here. As you can see, you can do images, videos, articles, all kinds of things. And it's a great resource for me because it's free and it allows me to stay organized in what I look at. So those were the apps that we were going to do. Now, we talk a lot about this in our book, A How-To Guide to Maximizing Your College's Resources, and it definitely goes into some different apps that we have on here, but also it covers some of the same ones we did today. But if you're interested in doing this further and moving forward with this, we definitely help students with this, with getting organized, getting productive. So we have a special deal for you. Alright, so if that's our special deal right now, we'll be offering our ebook, A How-To Guide to Maximizing Your College's Resources, along with 2 hours of consulting help. So if you wanted to sit down and get you a plan and work through some apps together and input your information and do that together, we could do that and get you set for the semester. So thank you all for joining us. That's all the apps for today. If you have any questions, you can email us at info@navigatecollegenow.com, as well as visit our website and contact us through there, navigatecollegenow.com. Please join us on our social media so we can stay connected. And thank you all for joining us. Have a good evening.